Alright, welcome back to Is It Wrong to Trip Up Girls in a Dungeon? Anime Review, episode number 54. We are here reviewing the 70th episode of the series, War Game, which adapts from the last 4 pages of the epilogue of this very book, Book 17. And we go into Book 18. Now, this book, like in the case of the last arc, where the chapter numbering continues from the last book, where it covers, get this, pretty much mostly the entirety of like 6 and 7-ish, about 7.5, about halfway to chapter 7 of this very book. If you're really curious, how much of the episode is how much the book is covered? That much. If you're curious, almost 100 pages, and there's a lot of skipping. Yes, a lot of abridged telling. Basically, what was cut from this episode was a lot of conversations, and I do mean a lot. My guess is JC Staub must have been a time crunch, and they probably had to cut a lot of this stuff out, but kept a lot of the important stuff in just for time constraints. So that's the reason why. Now, unlike in the case of the previous 9 episodes, which have been really good with adapting it, not in the case of this one. Oh no. They're adapting pretty much at this point the longest book of the whole frickin' series. And at the time the season's released, this book, here in the US, is the second to most recent book released here. There is a book coming. Yes, there is book 20 coming. And get this, the last book came out just a year ago. Yes, a freaking year ago. And I actually own book 19. So, here's what happens in this episode. And this is quite interesting, because a lot of the stuff, basically, they skip a lot of stuff related to Guild in here. Yeah, a lot of the Guild stuff, which basically they bring up the Guild in this episode a lot. Like, a lot of the stuff they do, like, if it doesn't involve the main characters, they just pretty much expunge it from the episode. There is one person associated with the Guild itself, who is in the episode, but not necessarily as part of the main, as basically a one-scene cameo. So, we left off last episode where Freya has challenged Hestia to a war game. If Freya wins, she gets Belle. If Hestia wins, she can cast her back in heaven, or the heck she wants. Belle basically wants to see her true self, and then they pretty much come up with the ideas for the war game. And one of the rules is that the Loki family is banned from the game. Oh, and the reason why? Because the Guild does not want to spoil, he doesn't want to ruin the balance of power in Arosho. Yes, and also the fact there is also one of the quests they need to complete, slaying the Black. Well, they don't say in the episode, but one of the quests, and they cut this from the episode. This is very important. It's shocking the fact that this episode cut this. One of the quests that these people have to complete, one of the great quests, is slaying the Black Dragon. Yeah, they cut this from the episode, probably due to time. So, the rules are, it's a hide-and-seek game. Finding the gods. That's kind of what it is here. And of course, you have Belle basically reunite with Lily, Elena, who actually was out of the scene because she was actually not in the book, in the scene itself in the book. Wilf, Mystico, and Hedra. Basically all here basically apologize for trying to help him, because they're on the charm. Yeah, in the actual book, there actually was a lot more people here. And they probably cut it due to time. They probably just want to focus on the Freya family itself and Elena, because basically she had a role in the previous book. That's probably the reason why they changed the scene. But pretty much the scene is played out exactly here. Now, Cassandra herself, who is the Oracle of the series, she does appear in the episode later on. But in the book, she has basically another screen time in the book. Excuse me. But of course, they cut it out. They do keep the stuff with Malika, who is Hiriko's her Patreon god. Like, there's a scene involving him, and like everything involving him in this, like what was from this book, that's all kept in, and that's shocking in the fact he's not that big of a character in the series. Like his scene where he's interacting with two other Patreon gods, like two fellow Patreon gods, that's pretty much kept intact from the book. That's shocking given the fact the scene may not be. My guess is they kept the scene in because it was probably important to the story, and of course, Hestia of course asked to use Ainz, but she's been banned. She can't use it, but the Amazonians they can take a Bell no problem. Of course, there's a little bit of a Bell. Actually, there's a part of the scene cut there too, which I'll get to. So the reason why this is real late in the episode, why Ainz was actually told to forbid the training of Bell, because he's stronger than he currently is right now. That's pretty much the reason for it. Ainz herself has seen a brief cameo, and basically her stuff was from the stuff they adapted here. This completely unaltered. Basically, it's straight from the book. No change with her. Which is, you probably would think, oh, the cutter scenes? No. That's exactly what's from the book. They do have two Amazons who work for Lookman. They do train with Bell, which is perfectly fine. Finn himself is talking to this elf, which they'll name in the episode, but his name is Royman. He is the guild master. Of course, Horatius is the patron god of the guild. He is mentioned in the book, but he's not mentioned in the episode. He can't participate in the game, but he can't watch the sidelines. Makes total sense. Now, it was his idea to ban the Loki Familia from the game because basically they're required, and certain people from the Frey Familia are banned because they're needed to do this one quest. They have to be not involved with this thing at all. Despite the fact that the entire city wants to go after Frey Familia, there are some people who are banned because of prophecy reasons. And that's kind of basically, they kept a little bit of that from back in the book. I'm not upset with the changes. Some of the changes I thought was kind of weird. Like, there's a scene later on in the episode, we have Hestia talking to Bell, where Hestia talks about basically Bell's time with the Frey Familia. That is cut from the episode. Mostly, anyways. It's like the scene itself was like cut in half. They do keep the bit in here, which is something quite interesting. Bell is leveled up to level 5. Which, if you're really curious, is this his current level in the light novels? As of this book, it is. As in the case of Bell, yeah, level 5 is actually his current level. Like, here's his status. His strength is G222, endurance F340, dexterity G245, agility 311, magic is 298, luck is F, abnormal resistance is G, escape is G, chain attack is I. He's also, they reveal he actually can run really, his speed is increased thanks to his level. And as of currently, he has not, I repeat, he has not increased levels. As of book 19, he's still at basically this book. Well, excuse me, this level. Yes. Which I do find interesting, the fact that yeah, so basically is also they do keep the line here of wealth where he's gonna make magical swords, which that's kept from the book. But as for a lot of the air stuff he stated, like stuff from his homeland, they keep a little bit of that in, but a lot of his dialogue was cut from the episode. Hephaestus, his patron god, who he's in love with, she's in the episode, and mostly put her stuff was kept intact, which is kind of surprising. Finn, of course, after talking to Royman, he basically chatted to with the captain of, I think, Helmer, the guy from the Freya Familia, who also trained Bell to go on his date with of course, Sire. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so basically, despite the fact he can't participate in the game, he is going to help them out. He basically, then later on, of course, well, how should I put this? Well, basically, in a way, Elaine says she's going to basically leak a bunch of info about the Freya Familia. And of course, you have Lily doing a lot of basically strategy stuff. And then we see something that, this is shocking. We have Lily interacting with Finn. A character who, in terms of the anime, these two have never interacted before. Excuse me. You're thinking, wait, how can these two interact with both the same species? That's true. As a matter of fact, the first time they ever met was cut from the anime, because that was from Book 8. Because a lot of Book 8 was cut from the anime. They only adapted for 2 episodes. Because there's a lot of stories in that book, and they cut a lot of the book out. I don't know the reason for it, but that's basically what happened there. Mm-hmm. Yep. So he basically agreed to train Lily on how to be a strategist. It's a brief scene, but if you're curious, is there more to the scene aside from that? Not really. They don't really cut much from here. So, and as for, Welf's patron, she basically forced some swords for him, per se, yes. Makiko, in case you're curious, though, is there anything come from her from the anime? Well, not really. She doesn't really do anything. Himiko doesn't do anything either. So, there is other people who have conversations with Bell in the episode, which, that was cut, probably, like I said, due to time. A lot of conversations was cut, because, basically, if you read, pretty much, the first 2 chapters in this book, it's a lot of this. Lots and lots of talking. So, my guess is the reason why this stuff was cut was due to time, and my guess is probably the staffers at JC staff probably realized, though, yeah, let's keep all the meat stuff in, keep all the important stuff, cut all the excess stuff out. That's probably what they did here. So, by the way, Freya basically is informed of the role. She has no problem with it. And then she later on in the episode received a flower. We'll get back to that. So, the Ganesha Familia is not going to participate in this one either. It's not because they were banned. It's just they chose not. It's just because Ganesha chose not to have his familia be involved in this particular war. It was his choice. He was not told not to do it. So, the game is hide and go seek. We're hiding the patron gods. So, by the way, they actually had it where all the patron gods have these flowers. Now, in the book, this was Hestia's idea. In the anime, they cut this out. Which, that was an important factoid. This was Hestia's idea. In the anime, this seems like completely random. Like, oh, we have flowers. We have to basically put on people. Despite the fact this was Hestia's idea, I'm not sure why they kept this for. This is probably the only major factoid. That was one of the few major things they cut from the episode. And my guess is they probably on a crunch time. Though, at least the animation and stuff because of this. I would say the worst aspect of this episode is the adaptation process. Basically, a lot of the writing here that was cut from the episode due to time. They probably had to cover this super quickly because here's the thing. JC Staff had announced the season to be 15 episodes. They got to this like, okay, so first episode of that book 18, and oh crap, we only have 6 left. Oh yeah, they also said that the Patriot Guns cannot fight each other in this fight. Nope, no fighting them. Their children can. Yeah, they can fight each other, no problem. I don't think they mentioned anybody allowed to die per se in this fight, but okay, I'm glad they kept that part in. So the fight's gonna take place at these ruins outside the city. Like, okay, fine. At least it's not the city itself like it was during the Apollo stuff. Which, by the way, there's a mention of Apollo from his war game. They have back in season 2 of the show, which they cut from the anime. Yep, they did. That would have been a great Easter egg to make people, oh yeah, we did this already in season 2. And here's the thing. They cut it. I don't know the reason for it, but they did. And in case you're curious though, the first season only came out in 2015, roughly 9 years ago. The second season was released 4 years ago. Actually, 5. 5 years ago. Yeah, 5. They had the second season 4 years after the conclusion of the first season of the show. Yes, and then of course they aired the season 4 the following, pretty much in a way like the following year. 5, they pretty much waited. 4, they waited 2 years, which that's actually a pretty time. Now, I appreciated basically season 4 for basically doing 2 cores, and also the fact it was 22 episodes. So, in my honest opinion, I think that giving this season 15 episodes may have been a mistake on their part, because if they're given maybe 2, maybe 3 more episodes, they might have basically more time. I was very appreciative. The last season took 11 episodes to cover book 14. This one should have gotten the same amount. This one should have got the same treatment, but this is probably the fault of JC Staff for basically the episode count. They should have basically have it last more than 15 episodes. That's probably the weakness of the season, is the fact that this could have lasted a little bit longer. I mean, this book is slightly longer than book 14. This is like 20 pages longer. And yet this book is given a less amount of episodes to cover as source material than book 14. 14 had 11 episodes. And this book gets 6. Like, how does that make any freaking sense? And yet this book is longer. Yeah, this book is longer. How does it make any sense? I don't know. Yeah. So, that's pretty much a particular view. Oh, by the way, also they actually, before I end the video here, they had like a strategy meeting, and then of course Cassandra comes in to give her a little prophecy about joining the women will be on their side. That's probably a reference to Gale herself, basically going to join their side. There's one scene which I'm surprised they kept this in here, where, get this, we have the cat girl from the Mamma Mia Tavern, and she's visited in the scene by her brother, which I was kind of surprised they kept this in, given the fact this whole scene takes up like 1 page. No, seriously, this like 30-second scene is like 1 page. I am not kidding, and they did not cut anything from the scene. My guess is they kept this in because they probably, I guess somebody must have liked this scene in the book because it was really, really short. That's probably the reason why it wasn't altered. Yep. But yeah, this is pretty much it. Now I'm going to end it here because I'm going for over 20 minutes of this one episode. I thought I had time to do a Comic Corner tonight, but nope, don't have time to because I have to get the trash out and get to bed. Okay? So, tomorrow, There may not be time for Comic Con tomorrow. I probably have to wait till Saturday. And that's a maybe in that part because it seems like tonight, tomorrow, and Saturday is a weird time for me. Yep, we should have a video tomorrow. Bye.